Welcome to Flipping Miami, a podcast for those who want to learn real estate investing, do more, and make more. Now, here is your host, Raul Bolufe.
Yo, welcome to Flipping Miami by Raul Bolufe. And today I have a good friend of mine, a dear friend of mine, Hunter Hayden from Jacksonville. And before we get into kind of like starting the interview and just have a conversation about real estate and what he's up to, I want to spend a little bit of time talking about like how he started, what similarities there are between people who start businesses and people who start in real estate, and kind of like the flow of the life cycle and what they end up doing and what they end up doing daily, travel, lifestyle stuff. So if that stuff interests you, if like you want to learn, what top level investors are doing as far as wholesale, as far as future big deals, syndication, things like that, this will be a good episode for you. And thank you guys for listening. You could, if this is stuff you like, check us out or subscribe to our iTunes or YouTube, all that stuff. You can check it out there. Also, website raulbolufe.com. Now, let's get into my man, Hunter Hayden, bro. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for the invite. I always love talking to you and seeing what's going on in Miami and what you and Lewis are up to.
How would you, like someone to say, 19 years old, coming out of college, or maybe has a couple years off of high school, they're, all right, let me start this wholesaling thing. Let me start this, fix and flipping thing, whatever.
Yeah.
Who can I get around? Like, what would you recommend would be the first step to take to look vertically and find that person or find those group of people that they can look up to and maybe give and get advice from? How would you start that?
I would just really look at the people who are doing the business, who truly have a business, that are actively doing deals, and that truly care about teaching. Those are the two things that I would do. So read as much as you can. Start doing some marketing, but be strategic in your marketing. I mean, really go after the stuff that you know you could probably get, and start telling your friends and family. I mean, that's what I did, and eventually stuff just kind of started happening.
Yeah. And I'll share a quick story. Like how I found my first mentor was my stepdad was starting to fix and flip houses. I think he had done like his second or third house when I heard the Sean Terry podcast.
Yeah.
And I asked him, like, dude, I learned this wholesaling thing. Who are you buying houses from? He's like, well, I just bought a house from a wholesaler. I'm like, oh, cool. What's his name? He's like, oh, his name is Jim. I said, okay, cool. He's like, actually, let me look, because I think on the bottom of his email, he says that he can coach people. And dude, through like an email of like my stepdad who just bought one house off of him or whatever, I reached out to Jim, like, hey man, my stepdad is this guy. He said I bought a house from you. Can I learn? He's like, yeah, let's figure it out. And sometimes it can be so simple like that. Yeah. It could be an email. It was a freaking email, man.
Yeah.
And, or it could just be asking people, maybe going to a meetup or something.
Yeah, dude. And sometimes you just need the right mindset. You just need someone to say, look, man, you either do it or you don't. It's up to you. And
yeah,
and it's, like hard love, man. Tough love is awesome. That's what you want out of your mentor. If he's letting you get away with your excuses to yourself and these things you tell yourself and tell him, I mean, a good mentor is just going to chew that up.
Yeah.
And you got to be willing and able to receive some hard information, because it is now. I still get coached today. I get coached actually more than I ever have. And man, sometimes those meetings are rough. And you know that.
Yeah.
You're in those.
Yeah.
And I mean, it hurts your ego. It is not comfortable. But it requires you to really be introspective and see what is it that you really want in life, and don't let anyone derail you. And if they are, they're just not the right people to be in your life.
Yeah, dude. And I mean, I'm sure both of us can attest to this. Like, would you have the same amount of income without coaches?
No.
Not
Zero.
even close.
Not even
It's like you don't know until you're exposed to it, and you still got to put in the hard work and stuff. But just
yeah.
that non bullshit, drop your ego and do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Attitude helps so fucking much, man.
Yeah, it's like sports teams. They all have coaches. Those guys don't get out of bed every day and want to go hit the gym and play every night their hardest. No, those guys need help.
I have 2 one-on-one students, and one of them just did his first deal, and we actually partnered together for me to sell it. And it wasn't the smoothest sale, and it was just we had to get a couple showings and this. It was a little bit of a messy house.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, but why has it? I'm like, dude, this is business, bro. Things are not going to happen from one day to another. They're not just going to happen so smoothly.
Yeah.
And but you don't know what you don't know. You might read a book, but then when you're in real life, it's like, fuck it, let's get it.
Right. Yeah. And everything you read in the book too doesn't always apply to you.
Yeah.
You can't read a book and be like, all right, let me take all of these things. And I just read a great book by Seth Godin, which is This is Marketing. Grab some really good stuff in it.
Awesome author. Sorry.
Yeah, I would highly encourage you to read it. But I only was able to take 3 things away from it. And I'm not going to explain that because I want you to read that. And I don't want to influence what you get from the book, but it is really, really cool. And it's that's how I like to read books, man. Just take 1 or 2, 3 things.
Yeah. I think is really big that people don't do, reread the books you like.
Yeah.
Dude, I reread books. This year, I dedicated myself. I'm not going to buy any new books the first half of the year. I'm just going to reread. And there's so much that you just kind of forget, didn't catch the first time, whatever. Totally. I read 12 books in the first half of the year, and it was great.
Well, you were gone. You had a lot of time off, dude.
Yeah, I had a lot of time off.
We all need it.
Yeah. Dude, so let me ask you this. So you've been in business for how long now? A couple of years?
Dude, we just had our 6th anniversary this past Monday.
Wow.
Yeah, November 11th.
Yeah. Shoot. But you've been on your own for how long?
I mean, I've been unemployed since 2011.
Okay, yeah, so 8 years almost.
Yeah.
And so what would you say is the biggest business lesson that took you the longest to learn?
I will say leadership has been the one thing that I think I undervalued the most.
Interesting.
And what we had was a coach came in last spring or February and completely changed our entire company culture and helped James and I become better leaders, because what we found was everything that was going bad in the company, we really just need to pull up a mirror and look at ourselves and see why was that happening to us. And really the answer was we were the problem, not necessarily them. So I think leadership, and even if you're just there by yourself, you're a solopreneur right now, leadership is also something you have to do within yourself, because you're going to have vendors, you're going to be working with other people, and the way that you work with your buyers or your sellers, you still have to be a leader to them, right? You have to do the right thing and encourage them and just be the man or woman.
Yeah, woman. Yeah, interesting. Leadership. So if you were to go back, you would probably focus more time on hanging around or learning from more leadership tactics on how to manage people, hire, or how to manage your daily efforts on things is that what you kind of meant?
Yeah. I would totally have started reading books the minute we were hiring the first person. Started saying, okay, I'm going to become a great leader, commit myself to that. And I probably would have already seen double the size of the team. We probably would have already been a much bigger business, because delegation and influence and all that stuff, it grows, right? It grows your business.
Well, it's people, man. People, you need people for everything, unless, you're obviously in a very tech driven, but at the end of the tech, there's some kind of person using the tech or the service.
Sure.
So people's, I think The scary part is that no matter how good you get, like it's a never ending learning experience of leadership, like,
Yeah.
because you're going to go in different levels, when you get to the point that you have like 20 employees or 20 people, like your leadership skills are going to have to kind of evolve or change a bit,
Yeah.
you're going to deal with different. So it's a cool thing, but it's important for people to know, like, cool, like learning how to manage yourself is your own leadership. Then one person and 5 and 10 and 20 is like different, levels and skill sets. So
Totally.
yeah. Dude, what would you say are like the best habits that like you have right now, and maybe some of the best habits that you'd want to have as far as like business goes, like a morning thing, or maybe like, like what are the best habits? And let's try to keep it for like wholesale. So maybe people can put it into context. Like,
Okay.
what are the best habits that you have right now, or you and your team? And what are the best habits that you think like you guys should evolve to or want to have to like create like the most awesome like outcomes?
Yeah. It's a good question too, buddy. Yeah, I think one of the main things that we habitually do is we have an awesome Monday meeting. We come in there, we have a good time. We try and keep it light. We try and bring in, the first day of the week just with a good vibe. So start the week off with positivity, because I know Mondays are always heavy for everyone. People want to no one wants to show up on Monday. I like to turn it around and keep it light. I would say like Monday is our least productive day. We all know it, and we just accept it, and I'm fine with that, because I'd rather that than Friday being a fluff off day, because normally it's the end of the week. Like things have to happen. Deals got to get closed. And so, that's one thing. I really think waking up the miracle morning, waking up early, it's hard. It sucks.
Yeah.
But it is a game changer. Like you get so much done before 8 o'clock. And if anything, you just wake up at 5 and hang out and play video games, and like you get that out of the way. It's just you have that time to yourself to get whatever you want done for the day, and then you actually have a full day. Those are two things.
And you feel so good like when you accomplish it. It's even something I trouble with. I'm doing it more than not, but the days I don't do it, I'm like, for the days you do it, you're like, I just feel great.
You feel cheated. If you don't do it, you're like, wow, this day, I just cut my day down by 20%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, that's good. So like the Monday meetings, owning your mornings, however you want to do it. The Miracle Morning is a great book. I imagine you read that one by Hal Elrod. Awesome book.
I would also say this: start your day out with something fun and positive. And I'm getting to a point where when something really stresses me out, instead of me trying to push through it at that very moment, I will tend to go do something that makes me happy, and I can get reframed. And my personality type fits well up for that. Sometimes I go do something and I'll get the idea, or the solution will pop in my head. So that's me. That's maybe not everybody, but when things are really stressful, I try and pull some fun and positivity into it. And then I'm more clear headed.
That's really good. Actually, like yesterday was a great example. Like yesterday was kind of like a stressful day between business and stuff. And so this morning, like I didn't want to carry that stress with me. So like, instead of like going through my original routine, I'm just like, man, I really want to look this up online, like something I want to buy. So I'm like, I want to look this up, and it makes me happy, like even dreaming about it. And so that's how I started it. It was a little off the cuff, but then it's just like your energy's back up. You're like, okay, man, like it gets you a little happier, just like looking for it. That's what made me happy. Maybe someone's happy playing like a video game, or I think that's a really awesome point. It's more just the fact that you get to own the morning more than like anything else, which is awesome.
Totally. And I think video games was like the worst example I could have done, because I haven't played video games in forever. I was trying to take something that seems even, not productive, as long as you can get that out of the way before your day really starts. And reward yourself.
The rest of your day is like, all right. No, that's awesome. Yeah, like one of the things that like we started mainly because of our coach, as far as like habits in the business, and you can do this as a solopreneur if you have a team, Dude, the mornings, like from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. is lead generation time. No excuses. Nothing else gets put on the calendar. We don't go on appointments in the morning. We don't do phone appointment. We just do lead generation and lead follow-up and not from 9 to 11 a.m. No excuses.
Wow.
If there's more to do, then we'll do it. But from 9 to 11, it's dedicated. That's all you do. Lead follow-up, lead generation, like all that kind of stuff. And that shit has helped us a lot.
I'm curious, is that just historically been the best time to do so? Or do you just like the energy in your team from 9 to 11 and the way they can talk to people during that time frame?
The way to think about it is like, it's typically the hardest stuff to do. So if you do it in the morning, that's it. Like it's done. Kind of almost like owning your morning. It's almost like owning the business morning.
Yeah.
You get me? Like following up with like old leads or like, you know, maybe getting on the phones and, you know, calling up people you don't really want to call is like not the best thing.
Right.
But if you do it in the morning, then the rest of the day is so easy.
Oh, wow.
That's, our coach was
talk about that. We'll have to talk about. I like that.
Yeah, it's really cool. Our coach, but you know him, he's the one who's been preaching that for us, and we're finally like, all right, we're gonna listen to you, even though we should have done it from the beginning. But
that's what we pay him the big bucks for, just to tell us stuff we kind of already know. But you know, they push us, and that's exactly what we're paying him for.
Oh, it's the best.
Yeah.
So just like a few like little more questions here.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give your younger self now? You know, like you've gotten you've gotten this far. I'll kind of just speak for you, and then like you could correct me. But so Hunter has a team. He has a partner named James with like 3,000 million followers on Instagram, and you guys they have a pretty big operation in Jacksonville. They do like over 100K per month, and they crush it up there, wholesaling deals. I think James is doing some commercial syndication now, and you build. I think like you were doing some new build, and you do some renovations and stuff too, right?
Yeah, so we were kicking off, we do some renovations and we were getting into doing some development, and the stuff that I've designed and created, we found after getting it all approved was our marketplace in Jacksonville is really not ready for the stuff that we have created. So we trash canned a lot of those, but segue into that is I'm really good at acquiring land and good infill areas. So we have made a ton of money on buying in areas where builders want to build and homeowners want to buy houses. So I've carved out a little niche for myself. We're going to put together a product here very soon.
We had
we're going to release it. I've been putting it together. It's a little more in depth. So I'm working on simplifying it more, so that I can actually really educate and get this into other people's hands. So, but we've been making a lot of money on land. So we just look at opportunity, and we're doing some seller financing deals. We just kind of look and move with the market a little bit.
So you guys have been able to accomplish a lot. You know, made good good revenues and businesses.
Yeah.
So what would you tell your younger self, you know, maybe like that sophomore you know, like what would you tell that sophomore little Hunter running around? I can't even imagine little Hunter.
I was about this big.
You're huge.
Yeah, I wasn't a little guy, but I would tell the little big me that do it now. Start it now.
Yeah, just take action now.
Take action, man. I was selling stuff when I was like 11 years old. Yeah. You know, I went to daycare every day because my parents worked and they picked me up at 6. And I was like hustling stuff after daycare, like selling stuff, just trying to make money. Like I knew that was like my thing. So just listen to yourself and do it. You only live once. And I know that's kind of cliche, but it's really true. And you want to make sure you're fulfilled in these very small amount of years that we're on this earth. And because in my opinion, you know, the real glory and the great days are ahead after this life. So just try and make these the best as possible. And most of all your pain is going to be on this earth. So do something you love to do.
Yeah. So it's so simple. Like, why is it so simple? Why do we make it so complicated? I don't know.
Because it's easy. We have all these external forces. We have all these people and things telling us the complete opposite.
Yeah. It's crazy. don't know. I think about it all the time, like, man, it's so simple. And like, yeah, I mean, business is not very simple and this and that, but like life itself is pretty simple. Whether you got 100 million or whether you got zero, you could still be you and you could still be happy and you could still be doing things that are meaningful for you and meaningful for others.
I find people with less are happier. Typically your problems aren't as magnified,
Yeah.
but that's your income potential is completely up to you, and you get to decide what you want to do with that.
Yeah.
For me, I just want to help people. I truly want to make their lives better. That's the reward I get. I give a lot, and it's not because I want the recognition. I know it's a gift to me. It's a gift back to myself.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah,
That's good.
man.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Yeah. I mean, the stuff when you got to give to receive.
Yeah.
Last question, man, or last two questions. And this is like a question I like to ask, and I've asked every single person I've interviewed, and I've got an array of answers. So I'd like to hear yours. What is, in your mind, in real estate, the $100 million play? How do you either make 100 million, be worth 100 million, sell 100 million? Like, what is like, if you think of 100 million in real estate, what is it to you in your mind?
Yeah. I used to think that 100 million would be something I could actively make on a deal, or I'd flip a house or a commercial building or whatever and make $10 million.
Right.
Now I know that's really not the way it's done. Because if you need to make 100, you're flipping that commercial building for 200, right?
Right.
And so I would say that true wealth creation is through passive income. And that's what we're focused on now. We're buying commercial buildings. I like assisted living. It is a asset class that's underserved. You're serving a very needed marketplace. Again, it goes back to my core value, serving, helping others while making really good income. And I think it's in the long game. If you're a stock guy, you're in the long game. It's not transactional. It's in the true wealth creating activities, which is generated through passive income and real estate.
Yeah.
So start buying some rentals. Even if you're wholesaling, you think, oh man, what's one? I want to get to where next year or one day I'll start buying rentals when I can buy 20 in a year. Guess what? That'll never happen. You'll never get there.
It's so true. I hear that.
You'll never get there because buying one and stomaching like the fact that you're not going to make that income for the year, you got to wait it out, is part of the discipline that you need to learn as a business owner and as an entrepreneur to be disciplined, take a little off the table today for more in the future.
Yeah.
The faster you can figure that out and like work yourself into that, the better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love that. I love that. Yeah. I mean, rentals is, I think I bought more rentals my first 2 years in business than I have the last 3 years.
Wow.
And, it's just, it was a discipline. It was a discipline that I was ready for. And, I'm jumping back. The markets and shit have changed or whatever, but it's a discipline. And so what I'm hearing, man, is the 100 million for you is just kind of building an asset.
Yeah, it's the seller financing deals. It's creative finance. It's
living facilities is good.
Yeah, it's the apartment buildings.
I interviewed in the podcast Matt Terriel.
Yeah.
And he said that his $100 million play, he said, was big, like ALFs would be like what he would aim towards. He says, and those like there's stats to prove it of like the baby boomers and are going to end up like retiring soon.
Yeah, there's a life cycle. Okay,
Yeah.
there's a life cycle to it. So if you're pioneering it and you're out in front of it, it's $100 million. It doesn't have to be the $100 million.
Right.
Is it $100 million for as an industry? Absolutely. Personally, $100 million. I would love to get there. I don't know if I want to work that many hours, honestly, to 100 million. I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, that's Elon Musk, right? That's the dude who doesn't sleep at 2 hours a night. Like, you got to decide if that's what you want in life. So
that's your lifestyle. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason I ask, I mean, the 100 million is like a goal or whatever, but it's not about the 100 million. It's about like, I want to see like how people think big in that sense. I mean, and
yeah.
some people I asked Ken Clothier on the podcast. He's like, I'm not looking for 100 million. I'm looking for 3 billion. I'm like, I get it, man. But the point is where's your thought process there? But you know how it is.
Yeah.
Dude, so all right, last one. What would you say right now, 2019, we're filming this November 14th, 2019. What is like the best tactical tip you can give a newer person to get their first deal? Like in your mind right now, to get a first deal, let's say like your cousin wanted to start wholesaling, and like what tip would you give them to like get a first deal like in this day and age right now?
Well, if you have to just do it from a desk, I would start doing it through MLS offers and FSBOs. I mean, if you can't leave your desk, but the biggest power in this business is face-to-face, I believe. Yeah. Your bigger fees are coming from face-to-face contact.
Yep.
So if you have the time, just start going around, meeting people, bringing value again to other people, start going work for another investor and just say, I want to give, and let me split a deal that I go and get, or whatever it is. So those are the two things I would do.
Love it, man. Love it.
Yeah.
Dude, how can people connect with you? So you're out of Jacksonville, and I know you talked about some syndication stuff or whatever. Like, if people just wanted to learn more about what you did, or maybe get involved with you somehow, how could they like reach out, or how could they find you?
Yeah, it's very easy. On Instagram is really the best way.
Yeah.
At the Hunter Hayden.
Yep.
That's last name spelled Hayden. And if they want to know more about the syndication and how to earn more passive income and some of the big stuff that we're working on right now to start placing a lot of money. And when I say a lot of money, we have a lot of small investors too at $50,000 to $100,000. So they can message me on Instagram, and I'd be willing to talk to them and share whatever I can with them.
Nice. Did you ever set up your website? I know we spoke about it. Do you have a website or no?
James and I have basically our holdings company, which is Hayden Hawk Investment Group, which is what we kind of operate under for most all business.
Okay.
Yep.
So maybe that one too.
Yeah, it's HaydenHawkInvestmentGroup.com.
Nice. Yeah, and if you guys are in Jacksonville, new wholesalers or learning, definitely reach out. Or if you want to join a team, they got a good thing. I know you guys got an office, just extended the office, I think.
We had to move next door. We're looking for A players, the best of the best. We train, we coach, we have an awesome company culture. Yeah. I like to think I'm a pretty cool guy to work with. So we're always looking for just really hungry people, because it's not, it's all about the team, and we only want the best.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So if you guys are up for the challenge and you're up there in Jacksonville, definitely hit up Hunter. We'll put the on the show notes, like his Instagram stuff. It's at the Hunter Hayden. And guys, I think this was a pretty cool one. I hope I asked you some questions that before. I'm like, I want to ask you some different questions.
You did. I had to think about it a couple times.
I saw you thinking. I'm making you work a little bit. Guys, thanks for watching this. If more things like this is listening to top investors, how to do deals, $100 million plays, advice, like how did they get from high school to business owner? If stuff like that interests you, I'm doing podcasts every other week or so. You can check it out on my YouTube channel, Raul Bolufe, or go to raulbolufe.com, and that's where all the podcasts and stuff is for free. I think I have like a free course that I'm giving away there, but you do it on your own time. Anyways, love you guys. Hunter, appreciate you, man. I hope to see you soon.
Always a pleasure, my man. Yeah. I look forward to seeing you next month for Art Basel.
Are you going to CG, by the way, in December? Oh, yeah. I'm going.
Okay.
I'll see you there.
I'll see you both.
Yeah. You'll see me and Lewis. We'll be out there. But all right, guys. Thanks for this. And Hunter, peace, man.
See ya.